I will pay to watch Goldberg. Like right now, if wrestling came into town and you said the main event is Goldberg versus Adam Pearce, I'm buying a ticket, baby. I want to see a spear. I want to see a jackhammer. And then I want to see a who's next.
This is the first time in my life I hear you spewing straight garbage.
I like waking up Saturday mornings, watching two grown men in underwear fighting like at 9 a.m.
What are you even talking about right now?
Go outside right now and ask your neighbor, do you know who Goldberg is? And they will say yes. They'll say Goldberg is a badass who's a wrestler. If you ask them who Jay White is, they'll be like, I think a former classmate of mine. No, what do you
wanted Roman? No, fam. I wanted a heel. Like how hard is it to book? Like, I feel like I'm in Vince Russo world right now.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Weekly Finisher. My name is Beefy Supremey.
Beef Supremey! And it's your boy A-Styles.
And this is the second week of 2021. Hey, how you feel?
Let me tell you something. What a week in wrestling it was. We have a huge show tonight. So huge, we had to call back Goldberg.
Now that's huge.
Now that's super.
All right, before we get, we're gonna talk all things New Japan this week. We're gonna talk Roman Reigns on SmackDown. We're gonna talk the Super Elite on AEW. But right off the bat, Ace, you're right. We had to call in Goldberg. How you feeling?
Yo, man. Why are we getting Goldberg back, fam? Here's my problem with Monday Night Raw. We have a legends like Randy Orton did not punt nobody. It was probably the worst Monday Night Raw I've ever seen coming back in January. And we had Drew McIntyre versus Keith Lee. Great matchup, by the way. I thought it was one of the best Raw matches we had in a long time.
Yeah, that was good. That's fun. That's cool.
And then we go into Drew McIntyre winning, and he successfully retained, and then all of a sudden, we see Goldberg coming from out of nowhere, entering the ring. The commentators are like, "Oh my God, could it be? Could it be? It is. It's Goldberg." He walks into the ring.
He went through all the legends.
All the legends. They're all like, "Oh my God, it's Goldberg! Oh my God, it's Goldberg!" And then he walks into the ring. He goes into Drew McIntyre, makes a stupid comment, and then I started laughing because McIntyre was like, "You're next." He's like, "It's gonna be embarrassing. You're like my dad."
Oh my God.
And
okay. Oh my God. I'm gonna assume you don't like Goldberg. He challenged Drew McIntyre at the Royal Rumble. You don't want this?
No! Why do we want Goldberg at the Royal Rumble? Let me ask you something. We saw Keith Lee versus Drew McIntyre in what arguably was the best Monday night main event match I've seen on Raw in a long time, right? We have arguably, and this also goes against SmackDown, which we'll talk about later on the pod. But the problem I have is the fact that we arguably, WWE has the most extensive roster from top to bottom. You talk about NXT UK, you talk about NXT, you talk about Monday Night Raw and SmackDown. And we have to go back to the past to get Goldberg? Come on.
Okay. So my question is, what do you want then? So
what do I want? What do I want? We got AJ Styles. We got Keith Lee. We got all these people on Monday Night Raw who can give Drew McIntyre a storyline, who can put McIntyre to the ultimate test. But no, we want Goldberg back. For what reason?
Here's my thing. You are right, but I have two counters. Well, three counters. One, this is the Royal Rumble. And the Royal Rumble is known for their Royal Rumbles. You know, they're not known for their other matches. Like, this is when we had we had Brock Lesnar take on Hardcore Holly. We've had other, like, regular matches that, like, we know aren't big. Like, they're just extras, so we're happy with them. So that's my first counter. My second counter is Drew McIntyre kind of needs this on his resume. Like, who has Drew McIntyre taken on that looks so legendary? Like, besides Roman Reigns, like, that in terms of resume, and you're like, oh, that guy took on, like, all the big names. He doesn't have any other huge name, and this is good for him.
Supremo. Go. I need you to understand something right now. The fact that we have to go, your second counter alone, I'm going to attack. Because the fact that you're saying that Drew McIntyre's resume is trash, who is that to blame? That's WWE's fault.
But it's not that it's their fault. Yes, I agree with that to a degree. But the truth is, we're in an era, again, we're struggling with COVID at the moment. But besides that, there's not a lot of names that resound. Whether you push them or you don't, you know, we could push Jeff Hardy again. We could push Kevin Owens again. I'm sorry, like Goldberg still is on another level in terms of
my God.
In terms of pop culture.
I don't
know if you saw the reports. I don't know who reported it, but we always complain about the legends coming back and like we don't care. Apparently, the people that brought in the most ratings with young people this past Monday was Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair. Like I know you don't want to hear that, and I know like that sucks to a degree, but I feel like we kind of need Goldberg right now, man.
Here's the problem with everything you just said, okay? The problem is we're running out of old people to bring back. What happens after Goldberg? Yeah, you're right. You're so right, okay? Yeah, maybe Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair got those ratings, which, I mean, well, yeah, they're going to bring back those ratings. Hell, I would watch Bad Bunny if he brought Booker T, which technically he did. So that's why I watched Bad Bunny. But the problem here is this. We're running out of old people, and we're running out of younger stars to make. AJ Styles is with almost, and he's oblivion now. He used to be a white, hot babyface, and now he's a regular old mid-carder with almost. So no wonder why we need old people, because we don't have stars. We don't have people we want to watch. There's nothing there that's interesting. So I agree with you that McIntyre, quote-unquote, needs this, but honestly, as an audience, we don't. We don't need to see Goldberg. We don't need to see Goldberg go against him anymore.
Okay, I think to be fair, I get the complaints. I feel like we're obviously like split in the wrestling community with this. But I will say, your complaints, we've been hearing them for like 15 years now. And the truth is, the cream rises to the top, baby. People like John Cena, people like Seth Rollins, people like McIntyre, people like Edge. Like, those are huge names that it doesn't matter who you bring back. They're huge. If you bring back Edge right now, he's huge. I think at the end of the day, I know WWE gets a lot of, like, they deserve a lot of flack for the way they book wrestlers. I hate how they book wrestlers, especially when they bring them back to the mid-card. But I feel like Goldberg is needed here. And just like when Triple H came back and won the title and fought at WrestleMania, a lot of people were okay with it because we got to understand we need it. And as long as Drew McIntyre has a good match with Goldberg, and hopefully he wins, I think this is okay.
I think you're being too optimistic at the time where
I am.
Enough is enough. Like, you're being way too optimistic to the point where I don't understand. I don't understand how you're okay with this, and the fact that, yeah, you're right, we are split. But we're split because what more can we do here now? If we didn't bring back Goldberg, what would they bring back? Triple H? Kevin Nash? Who else would they bring back? Like it's the continuous repetitiveness of, come on. Like, what more do we need?
I just want to say before we move on to talk about SmackDown, I feel like I was talking at home, and I feel like we forget Jeff Hardy's been around for like 22 years now. Yes. Like, Randy Orton's been around since 2002.
Yes.
At some point, again, I'm not a huge Randy Orton fan in the wrestling ring. That falls on him. Like, and Jeff Hardy has had his own issues. Some of this falls on them. They've been around since at least 20 years. Like, they're about to hit 20 years. Randy Orton is. If you are not like the top person that people want to see, and we prefer to see Goldberg, that's on you, fam.
But it's not even Jeff. But I'm not even talking about Jeff Hardy or Randy Orton. Those two are just class acts. No matter where you put them on the card, they're going to deliver or underdeliver, however you want to look at it that way.
No, they deliver. I get that.
But so then my thing is, when you have guys like AJ Styles, you got guys like all the people, Bobby Roode, all these people in the back, Shinsuke Nakamura, like all these people, this intense roster, and you can't give them a simple storyline to go against Drew McIntyre?
I think, I'm telling you, and we're about to get into SmackDown, I feel like people want to be excited. And that's where I'm going to bring up SmackDown with Roman Reigns. You talk about Shinsuke Nakamura. You talk about all of these other wrestlers that could step up. They just had Shinsuke lose to Adam Pearce. I want to know, you were against Goldberg on Monday. So what's your opinion on Adam Pearce on Friday?
You should already know. Why is that the point? Why are we having Adam? And before you even go, oh, but this is the ultimate heel move. This is the what you wanted, right?
So what do you
wanted Roman? No, fam. I wanted a heel. Like how hard is it to book? Like, I feel like I'm in Vince Russo world right now. How hard is it to just book Roman Reigns versus Daniel Bryan? Roman Reigns versus Cesaro. Roman Reigns versus somebody, anybody. But no, we're going against a retired authority figure of Adam Pearce because, oh, it's going to be such good stuff. Seriously. On your one of your 4 biggest pay-per-views, and that's what you bring me as the main event?
This is what I need you to understand. First of all, you don't want the old guys. You don't want the new guys. Adam Pearce isn't that new. But here's my thing. You need to stop putting stock on these matches that are just complimentary. Survivor Series. You remember what the 4-on-4 match was on Survivor Series? No, we remember the main events.
Like, I don't even remember the main event. What was the main event?
Royal Rumble. You can't ask me that right now.
There you go. See, there you go.
No.
That's the problem.
No. Roman Reigns took on Drew McIntyre at Survivor Series.
That's how boring it was, because I don't even remember it.
No, it wasn't. That was a great match. That was arguably Roman Reigns. That was arguably McIntyre's greatest match.
So you're okay. You're okay with Adam Pearce main event?
Yeah, I feel like, okay. I think we need to accept that we're headed towards WrestleMania. We're trying to stock up some matches. I'm gonna wait until I see what happens at the Royal Rumble and see where it goes from there. But I think you have to admit, I think as you get older, you forget that some of these names still carry. And Goldberg, no matter what, no matter how many bad matches he has, no matter how many bad promos he has, I love Goldberg. I grew up on Goldberg. I will pay to watch Goldberg. Like right now, if wrestling came into town and you said the main event is Goldberg versus Adam Pearce, I'm buying a ticket, baby.
Beefy.
Because you know why? I want to see a spear, I want to see a jackhammer, and then I want to see a who's next. Like who? I'm sorry.
You're ludicrous.
Cooler than
ludicrous.
Any other wrestler. That is cooler than any other wrestler you'll throw in me. It's cool. It's cool, Ace.
You're on crack. I'm sorry. You are on crack. This is the first time in my life I hear you spewing straight garbage. You saying you would want to go see? You are the first person I've ever heard. You would be okay seeing Goldberg versus Adam Pearce? What are you even talking about right now? It's not even. I can't. Like I'm heated at the fact that you just said that. How? No. It's okay. You're basically saying we should accept mediocrity because some way, somehow, along the road, on the road to WrestleMania, it's gonna get better. That's exactly what you just told me.
No. I think the definition of mediocrity is, as I've told you this, we've argued this. I feel like Kenny Omega is the current wrestler of our era. He is ultimate wrestling. And I grew up with Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels, which to me is like ultimate wrestling.
Yes.
But I feel like people like Hulk Hogan and people like Goldberg and even people like Macho Man. I feel like wrestling needs more character-driven matches sometimes. And sometimes that means it's a little slower. It's not that great. It's not that fast-paced. But you need those characters, and that's good wrestling. I like waking up Saturday mornings, watching 2 grown men in underwear fighting at 9 a.m. and in the middle of the Deep South and having a good 10-minute match. I like that wrestling. I don't know what to tell you, Ace.
But that doesn't happen in WWE anymore. Everything you just said doesn't happen anymore. We have no characters in WWE. I don't care. Whatever you just said makes absolutely no sense because what you just said, you want to see 2 characters going at it. Hey, we have no characters. But in the modern era of WWE right now, we only have 2 characters, and that's Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre and The Fiend. And that's it. That's all we have. That's all we have. Everybody else is just random gimmicks and random people they throw in together. That's it.
It's not. I think again, you're overly analyzing an era where we're like over analyzing ourselves, and I think every era is like that.
No,
besides, I think the problem is you and me grew up on the Attitude Era, and we grew up on Ruthless Aggression. I will argue that the Ruthless Aggression era was the best wrestling era of all time.
Like, I would not disagree with that.
A dream match. You had The Rock versus Ric Flair on random Raws. Like, you had legit dream matches 24/7.
I agree.
Ever since like 2008, 9, that's just not the deal anymore. So yeah, you have 3, 4 guys at the top. Everyone else is trying to elevate themselves to that level, and that's what we have.
But how hard is it to elevate somebody? Thank you. How about no? Because it's ridiculous that the fact that you're saying that the cream rises to the top, that doesn't make any sense. If that was true, then why the hell isn't Big E as bigger as he is? Why the hell isn't Bobby Lashley or the Hurt Business or Apollo Crews or Cesaro or all these people getting the recognition they deserve?
Again, I think you need to analyze the wrestlers themselves.
Oh my God!
No, they do. You know, I think that's a problem with the wrestling community sometimes. We get mad when they don't push certain wrestlers. Someone like Damian Sandow was red hot. Like, everyone loved him. And the minute he left, he did nothing. Like, I think sometimes it's up to the wrestler. Big E, I'm sorry, before New Day, he was hyped up. And he wasn't living up to that. He left New Day, and he's still kind of not living up to it. At some point, he needs to work on his character. I love Big E. I think he's a great wrestler as part of the New Day. But besides that, I don't know if he could carry himself on his own. And I think we're going to start talking about AEW in a bit. AEW wrestlers really are hungry. I'm not saying the WWE wrestlers are not hungry, but the AEW wrestlers really, really have perfected their characters. And that's why we mostly talk AEW every week. That's who the characters that we love. And meanwhile, characters like, Daniel Bryan, Kevin Owens, all of these wrestlers on Raw and SmackDown, it's up to them, man.
So you're saying it's the wrestler's fault and not the company's fault. Is that what you're telling me right now? No,
it's everyone's fault. But my point is that sometimes you're like, oh, why don't we elevate someone? Sometimes that person I think they're trying to elevate Big E. And Big E hasn't done it for me. Like, Big E has not delivered.
Wow.
Like, he won the Intercontinental title, and I'm glad for him. But first off, it wasn't his first Intercontinental title reign. And second, I didn't feel as excited as when Keith Lee won. When Keith Lee won the NXT title, that was hype. That was cool. When Keith Lee went to the main roster, I don't care anymore. Again, it might be the company, it might be the wrestler. I don't know who it is. All I know is it's not at the level that someone like Goldberg is. And Goldberg, I hate to tell you this, he wasn't even booked that well. He went out there and whooped some ass, and we loved it. Sometimes it just works, man.
Sometimes it's just nostalgia.
Thank you so much for the producers, because I'm not gonna lie, that is I think you're on a legitimately nostalgic trip where you're okay, and that's the problem I'm having with WWE. And now let's talk about AEW, because here's the reason why I say everything you just said is a total garbage. Because if we look at AEW from top to bottom, you said it yourself, the characters themselves, even if they are more hungrier, they stand by themselves. You are the main Eddie Kingston hater on this show. And the fact that
I'm not a hater.
You shut your mouth. You shut your mouth. And I say that because you yourself said, oh, I don't like Big E because right now he doesn't do it for me. Well, guess what? Eddie Kingston went from a nobody to somebody, and he consistently is on Dynamite and consistently winning people over. So I have to argue with you and say it's WWE. And again, I say this because look at what the main event of AEW did, right? Let's talk about the main event of AEW, right? We had arguably the best television match I've seen since Pac versus Omega. We had Rey Fenix versus Kenny Omega for the AEW World Championship. And let me tell you something, that match top to bottom, delicious. Okay? I said delicious. I was on the edge of my seat. I legit thought Rey Fenix was going to beat Kenny Omega. That's how amazing it was. And yet, it was a beautiful main event that ended up being quite arguably the greatest moment in wrestling today. And that is the return of the Super Elite, the return of the Bullet Club. Like, come on.
The Super Elite, baby.
The Super Elite is back. We got Luke Gallows and Anderson coming back. We had the Young Bucks coming in attacking Jon Moxley. Like, what more you want?
Okay, here's my thing. I love that. I love that, but I'm going to call you out. You weren't even excited when the Bullet Club got back together on Impact. So I feel like that's the problem. You're saying that I'm on a nostalgic trip. I feel like fans like you tend to reward different things on a weekly basis, and it confuses people, okay?
Why?
Were completely against Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows and Kenny Omega getting together, and you were like, I'm not feeling it. I think that's over. And you just hyped them up right now because the Young Bucks joined?
Because you have to understand, right? You have to understand there are
because of Obi-Wan?
No, because of Obi-Wan. Because there's different iterations of the Bullet Club, right? And now this idea of this merging of the Young Bucks and Impact Wrestling and this whole new connecting of the multiverses, it creates a brand new vision.
You're not consistent there. You're not
How
consistent.
am I not consistent? Call me out on it.
You were not excited for the Bullet Club.
I wasn't. I wasn't excited for what it was on Impact. But you have to. But that's what I'm saying, though. And it goes back to what you said about Big E. And that's the beauty of wrestling. And sometimes it won't get you. You won't be hooked. But then the next week, if it's compelling, if it's great, if the storyline is there, it's going to grip you. It's going to hook you. And that's what Impact and that's what Impact and AEW did this past main event. They got me.
I will say for the record, I am not an Eddie Kingston hater. I did not like Eddie Kingston as a main eventer. Eddie Kingston is not a main eventer. I don't know what to tell you. But it's the same thing with Big E. That's what we're saying. I think Eddie Kingston did a much better job in making himself a main eventer. I will give him that. I am completely with you on that. I wonder, we're excited about the Super Elite. Jon Moxley came back. And you're right, we had arguably the greatest TV match. I think January and February are great Kenny months.
Yeah.
If AEW had the opportunity, because I keep seeing this argument on Twitter about staying on AEW and Goldberg on WWE, and like people are like, oh, why do you like staying here, but you're mad at Goldberg over here? You're telling me if Goldberg was available right now and he would be willing to sign a contract with AEW, that they wouldn't sign him?
They would sign him, but I don't think he would get a position to be a number one spot and automatically challenge for the title.
They wouldn't make Goldberg a number one spot.
No, he wouldn't. They would not. And if they did, then I would lose. No, I'm not tripping, fam. It doesn't make any sense if you look at the track record on how AEW handles its legends. They don't automatically shoot them up to the top and say, oh, you got the championship title now. That was the problem with Impact, because that's exactly what they did. They brought in the biggest name. They pushed them in there. Now you get the title. Here you go. There's a difference between using a legend and using the legend status and automatically becoming champion.
But at what point can you no longer fight for the top title?
As a legend?
Yeah.
The moment you retire.
What? Well, Goldberg's not retired.
Goldberg should have already been retired, fam. Same thing with Taker. Taker should have been retired. Look, all I'm saying is this.
You said should have. No. I said
should have. He should have gone. That was it. He came back in the Attitude Era. He did his thing. No, okay, wait.
Randy Orton, Batista, John Cena, all these guys are legends. Is that it? Are we done?
Okay. John Cena is a legend. Okay, I'm gonna call it like it is. He is a legend. Okay, but if he came back, you would think he still got stuff. He still got some energy in the tank, right? So that's fine.
You would think so?
That I would think so, right? And that's fine. That's a WrestleMania moment, right? But here's the thing: Goldberg's already done that. He already won the Universal title. He already did all that thing with Brock Lesnar.
So
We've already seen that.
Go home?
Yes, that's it. Back your back. Go home.
Well, then how does John Cena have 15 world shots, like world title shots? Like, no. John Cena did not pack his bags after he won all the titles. Again, you're telling me right now, if The Undertaker or John Cena or Batista were to be like, I want to go to AEW, they wouldn't get a top #1 slot. You are ridiculous. You're ridiculous.
No, he would not get a #1 slot. I don't think they would. I think they will have him go against certain people, but I don't think they would.
I don't get it, man.
I just don't get your booking. I don't get your booking because here's the problem, right? And let's talk about this, right? New Japan Pro Wrestling had Wrestle Kingdom this past weekend, right? We have Ibushi
15,
as now.
Baby, 15.
Well, you're 15, and now we have Ibushi becoming a god. He is now the Intercontinental Champion and the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. He's huge, right? And then ending that, now we have Jay White, who on record said he's planning on leaving New Japan. So on the same topic that we're talking about, right?
Great promo, baby.
Great promo. I do agree. Great, amazing promo that he threw down. But going back on this topic, right? If WWE picks up Jay White, he will go to NXT. He will be there for a little bit, go on Monday Night Raw. But no, wait, Jay White. Wait a minute. You're big right now, but we got to put you on because Goldberg came back. So we got to put Goldberg up there because he's the next big thing. He's a bigger legend.
Andy.
So what now?
Oh
now
my
Jay
God.
White. Now Jay White becomes.
Oh my God.
Now Jay White becomes AJ Styles, and that's the problem.
No, AJ White. No. He does. Jay White does not. AJ Styles. And let's not forget, AJ Styles avoided coming here just like Sting because he didn't want to be used in a bad manner. And AJ Styles debuted in a great debut at the Royal Rumble. He had great matches against John Cena and Roman Reigns. And at some point, AJ Styles kind of did lose his luster. You're completely right. I don't know who to blame. I have no idea who to blame. But at the end of the day, I'm sorry. I like Jay White. You're not Goldberg. You're not Goldberg.
Oh my God.
Like, I don't know. I know everyone's gonna hate this. Goldberg is probably not as good as Goldberg's probably not as good as like 90% of wrestlers. But Goldberg has it. Goldberg is classic, legend. Goldberg is bigger than McIntyre. Goldberg is bigger than Roman Reigns. Goldberg is bigger than Goldberg is I'm sorry, you could go outside right now and ask your neighbor wearing a mask, obviously. Ask them, do you know who Goldberg is? And they will say yes. They won't say Goldberg's my doctor or Goldberg is my teacher. No, they won't say that. They'll say Goldberg is a badass who's a wrestler. If you ask them who Jay White is, they'll be like, I think I've heard of that maybe. I think a former classmate of mine. No one will know who you're talking about. Jay White had a classic, like 48-minute match against Ibushi. I'm not like great wrestlers. Someone like Okada, probably the wrestler of our generation. Like, I get it. Ricochet was like on his way to be, if he would have not signed to WWE, he'd probably be fighting in New Japan also, killing it, just like he was in Lucha Underground. We have a lot of amazing talent. We've said this, we've talked about the roster. I feel like there's a certain class of wrestlers that everyone knows. Hulk Hogan's, Ric Flair, Stone Cold's, The Rock. Everybody knows those wrestlers. And I think Goldberg is included in that conversation. Goldberg is like The Undertaker. Everyone knows who that is. And anytime you could get Goldberg, even if it's for a 1-minute match, you book it, baby.
You're on a nostalgic trip, which you have to understand. It only lasts for so long. And I'll tell you what. Last week, when AEW went after the NBA, some of the NBA Twitter followers were watching AEW. And they were hounding on Chris Jericho and saying, godly, he looks old, he looks fat. So again, I come to you and say, even if those are big names, even the likes of Jericho, being a big name, at some point, enough is enough, man. Right now, Chris Jericho is riding high. He's still doing Inner Circle. He's still great, okay? He still has it. And I'm not knocking Chris Jericho. But eventually, your time's going to be up, bub. And we can't keep going back. And that's why I keep trying to tell you, we can't keep going back.
I think we can.
No, we
can't. You keep saying we can't go back. Goldberg made his debut in 96, 97, and he came back in 2003, 2004, and he came back in the 2010s. Now he's back in the 2020s. Obviously, you keep saying that at some point it needs to stop. That's like 3 decades worth of Goldberg. I think, no, that's 4 decades. We got the 90s, the 2000s, the 2010s, and now we're in the 2020s. And Goldberg is still main eventing. At some point, Goldberg also looks like a badass. Jericho, that's his problem. If you're going to stick around, you got to look like a badass. People recognize you. People do remember Jericho. People look at Jericho that used to watch wrestling back in the day. Goldberg still looks like a badass. He looks in shape. He looks like he could kick your ass. He looks like he could hang out with his bros and get some super hot babes. Like, he looks good. So, the fact that that's that many decades of Goldberg, I think you have to realize that it's not too late. As long as they could go in the ring and people are paying for it, I pay for it. I don't know what to tell you.
You're on garbage. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You're
okay, would you say this about The Rock? Would you say if The Rock came back that he shouldn't be a main eventer?
He came back once. Do you see him coming back again?
No. He came back and won the title from CM Punk.
Yes, he came back after 7 years.
Okay, and he won the title from CM Punk, became the WWE champion and main evented 2 WrestleManias. And I didn't hear you complain. What?
And guess what? He came back after 7 years and it was okay. I'm not saying not to bring back legends, fam. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is when you're doing that repeatedly, which WWE has been doing repeatedly, they don't have anybody else.
But they do. The reason they come back and they fight someone new is because they do have somebody. Okay, like in 2025 and 2030 and 2028 and all of like throughout the 20s, we're gonna probably be able to bring The Rock back. All right, in the 2030s, we'll probably be able to bring The Rock back. Like you have to realize, as long as there's always someone to fight them. Right now, Goldberg could fight. He came back and fought. We wanted him against Roman Reigns. We brought him back against Goldberg. We want him against Drew McIntyre. Obviously, there are people being made, and I think we're not appreciating these legends enough. I feel like as long as they could go, I think it's an honor to watch Goldberg in the ring and whoop some ass, baby.
Okay, I'm done. I'm so done. I'm so done with your logic. I'm done with your garbage. You know what? Now I know why you beef Supremo, because you're on the dollar menu. Because that's how trash you are right now. Oh. I cannot believe this. I don't understand. Like the fact that you're sitting here and saying it's okay to have Jay White go against Goldberg in 2030. The fact that you're saying that it's okay to go see Orange Cassidy against Sting in the year 2030. Like, no, fam. At some point, we're running out of legends. We have to create new legends.
Let me tell you something. We're never running out of legends, baby.
I'm so done.
All right. So because nostalgia never dies, and
Jesus
because
Christ.
I like Bullet with a and because I like Bullet with a name on it from the great Raw vs. SmackDown 2007 video game, it is time for the question of the week. And I want to know, Ace, what is your favorite video game of all time?
It is WWF No Mercy on Nintendo 64. A great game.
Your favorite wrestling video game of all time
is No
Mercy?
It really
Even
is.
after all these years?
Yeah, because all of WWE's video games suck and they're trash.
No.
No. Yes. Yes.
No. Why do you like No Mercy, Ace?
I'll tell you why I like it. Arguably, it was one of the best games ever put together, and it didn't feel like it was too clunky. It just flowed naturally. You went into the ring, you went backstage. You could just the elements of the game was just so fun. And you continued to play these games, and it was like the matchmaking, the styles, the different elements of how you can do a suplex, how you can pin, how you can kick out, how you can store your finisher. It just flowed so well. You know what I'm saying?
It flowed nicely. I'm not going to lie. My favorite wrestling video game is also No Mercy. I completely agree with Ace. I feel like back in the day, you have, just like you have your Seinfeld people and your Friends people, Back then, you had your No Mercy people and your SmackDown people. I saw all those SmackDown PlayStation people. I didn't like those people. Those were not good wrestling fans. I didn't like those people. So come at me. I'm N64 for life, baby. I've heard rumblings that AEW wants to use the same platform to make a video game, so hopefully we get that soon. And with that, I hope that you guys also share your favorite video games with us. And so, Ace, we're done. It's been a crazy week. We spent the whole podcast talking about Goldberg. I hope you don't mind that. I want to know from you guys, are you excited for Goldberg's return?
Hell no.
And if so, what are you looking forward to?
They ain't looking for none of that. I'll tell you right now, they ain't looking for none of that.
They're not.
Big fact.
I'm sure this will be the week that we get millions of comments.
I hope so, because they can comment and like and subscribe to Raw to Talks Wrestling. Like and subscribe down below and tell us how much you disagree with Beef Supremo, because he's tripping. Make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you share with your friends, your families, everybody else. Be sure to like us on Facebook at The Weekly Replay. Make sure to use the hashtag Weekly Finisher on all of our social media platforms. That is Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Make sure to follow us and subscribe to our podcast at The Weekly Finisher on SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music. You can also ask Alexa, hey, Alexa, play Weekly Finisher, and trust me, she will play it.
That is a lot, baby. You can find us anywhere. And again, it's a new year, baby. So if you want to hear something, we're here for you. I shaved my beard because it's a new year. So if you got something to shave it off, and let's go.
Maybe we can shave off Bill Goldberg and not have him on WWE. How about that?
With that, I'm shaving off this podcast. We're done. All right. Thank you, everyone. And we'll see you next week.
See you next week.